Welcome to Maganet Gaming, and this is the second of two games I'm reviewing that were picked at random from a list. It was a blind random number picked by Meg, and subsequently played by Meg and Egg, and given to me to make a review of. And this one is one of those games where I almost cringe at the thought of reviewing it. Not because the game's bad, but it's of a style of game that is a bit outside of what I would typically play. There's a reason why it'll be a long time until I get to the Mario Party games in my library. And it's because minigame style games just aren't really my style, especially to review. Because I tend to look at each individual minigame and say, well, this is kind of brief. This is kind of brief. And if you add a bunch of like brief, substandard minigames into a complete package, the end result for some people is a super fun game like Mario Party, where they wouldn't buy any of the minigames even if offered for the appropriate fraction of the cost of the Mario Party package, but when combined into the whole presentation, they love it. And this is one of those games, but to a lesser extent. This is a game, Kirby Superstar, for the Super Nintendo. Developed by HAL Laboratory, published by Nintendo, and released in North America on September 20th, 1996. Late in the Super Nintendo's life cycle. Like I said, it's a collection of mini-games, including Spring Breeze, Dynablade, Gourmet Race, The Cave Offensive, Revenge of Meta Knight, Milky Way Wishes, and The Arena. You also have Samurai Kirby and Megaton Punch. Some of these are kind of one-on-one fighting styled games. Other ones are like playing a shortened Kirby game. Some are boss battles, some are collecting type games, and there's a race game in there that's a 2D side-scrolling racing game. As far as the presentation and amount of detail put into the tutorial, it's quite exceptionally well done. The presentation itself, definitely a good presentation. It'd be a good game for a small child to play, especially if they have the attention span to pay attention to the controls and the tutorials. They could probably master parts of the game in a few sittings. But it is a game that, as you go up in difficulty of the mini games, can be quite a skill-based game. So, as far as the graphics go, they're quite well done for a 16-bit Kirby game. Quite clear, the environments are interesting looking, and the animations are quite fluid. Controls are spot on. So the whole package is quite well done. The problem I had with the game, though, is some of the mini games just didn't seem enjoyable. That includes Gourmet Race, where you're just kind of mashing buttons, and even when you're doing poorly, it's like the king penguin guy just kind of seems to wait for you. Yet, if you get ahead, it's found possible because it'll stay close behind. Create a situation where you can have a bad race and still win because you did really well in the last part, or you can have a good race where you botch something in the last part and lose. I really don't like games that have rubber banding like that, given it's not terribly honest of how well you did as a whole. This is a game that sold well over 1 million copies pretty quickly. Had quite favorable scores from critics. It's not a game I'm likely to return to. Maybe I'd play it with and Meg, given she's more apt to play a simpler game like this than some of the more complex dungeon crawling RPGs I pull out. But as far as an entire package, there's just not enough substance here from a single player perspective to warrant a high score, especially not a top tier score at least. If you enjoy minigame styled games and enjoy the Kirby license, and you have other people to play the multiplayer games in here with, it can be quite an enjoyable experience. And overall it's a quite well crafted experience, and for the target market is quite well done. As far as the platforming like stages, they're well designed, have a degree of challenge to them, and do require at the end of the Spring Breeze, if you've never played a Kirby game before, you really do have to consider how to use your special abilities, because without special abilities you're not going to have any chance against the final boss. But overall, I think it's a good title. I don't think it's as good as Kirby's Dream Course, but I think that really is just a matter of personal taste. I prefer the skill required in the golf game over the skill required in these mini games. And also, I tend to play a lot of games single player, and I think that definitely skews my preference for Kirby's Dream Course. So overall, there's a good package of stuff here. The game is going to cost you quite a bit to pick up on the Super Nintendo, but it is available on some other platforms. There is Kirby Superstar Ultra released for the DS in 2008. And if you have a Super NES Classic, it was on that as well. The actual cartridge, though, I've seen copies complete in box getting into the $200 range, so that's not going to be very likely to get. It was on the Wii Virtual Console in 2009, and the Wii U Virtual Console version was released in 2013. So there's a lot of different ways to play this other than spending a ton of money for the cartridge or going the route of questionable legality. So like I said, if you enjoy mini-game style games in Kirby, you'll have a lot of fun here. If you don't enjoy mini-game style games but enjoy platformer style games, there's a little bit here that's enjoyable but not enough to justify a purchase. If this just isn't your style of game, it's one you can overlook. And like I said, it's definitely one that's better enjoyed with a group of people. As such, I'm going to rate it a B, and I'm going to put it in the lower end of that because of my personal preferences. So B minus. Like I said, it's definitely above average. It's a good to great game with a lot of interesting aspects to it, and very well done gameplay and presentation. It's just a bit brief and overall a bit shallow to justify a top tier score. And somebody's probably going to watch this and this is a game they really enjoyed, and if so, I can see why. Somebody else could look at this game, it could be one of the most enjoyable things they've ever played, and I wouldn't fault them for that. Like I said, it's not bad. Hope you enjoyed the review. Please like, subscribe, and have a great day.